And once again, we say welcome aboard. It's good to be with you at this time. Brother Mund speaking. Our program here called A Fisherman's 5-Minute Look at the Book of 2 Samuel, chapter 22. We began here yesterday, and we found a little word here in verse 5. It starts with the letter W. And Brother Mund, there are many things in life I know little to nothing about, but this one I know a lot about. Second, you said, I bet it has something to do with the sea. Well, of course. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 5. Of course, David is soon to be the king of Israel, going to rule and reign there in Jerusalem. And what has happened, he is running from his enemies. And sad to say, one of his enemies was King Saul. It goes all the way down to verse 5, and it says, when the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. All right, did you get the W word? When the waves of death. All right, now David likens death unto waves. You know, when it comes to the subject of death, most of the time, in fact, people will turn the radio off. We don't want to. How can I understand some things about death that might help me? Well, in our text, and we gave this yesterday, in our text it said, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So physical waves. We think about the waves of the sea. David knew what it was like to be around the Sea of Galilee. I'm sure he went over to the Mediterranean. He understood what a wave was. And if you're down to the beach and you see these big waves coming, you just think they're just going to engulf you. It just scares you. It says, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So with waves, they do bring fear. With death, it does bring fear because of the uncertainty there. And there's only one person that can remove that fear, and that is Jesus Christ, because he conquered death. Now, isn't that good? In the analogy and the parallel, so beautiful there. The experience that I've had in the past, thinking about the highest of waves, we talked about yesterday. I was running one time, the northern part of the Gulf of Mexico. We were running in front of a hurricane. And in running in front of the hurricane, you could look back in the back. Of course, we were running with those giant swells of we think about high seas, high waves, 20, 25 feet plus, you know. Dare not go over there because I don't want to exaggerate here. But looking at that, as a young person, I wasn't afraid. The reason I was not afraid because there was somebody at the helm beside me. It was my father. I knew he knew what he was talking about. So as far as the subject of death is concerned, I'm glad there was a time where Jesus Christ became my Savior. And you know what he did? He pulled the fear of death from me. Now, my friend, as far as death is concerned, I'm prepared for such, but I do want to live. But fear, no. Because I know the heavenly captain. David said concerning the waves of ungodly men, he said, it made me afraid. What can take away the fear of death from my life? My friend, that would be Jesus Christ. Waves? What is there about a wave that might help me to understand some things about death and being prepared for such? First of all, I need to make sure Jesus is my Savior. Waves, they wear away, do they not? You know, there's areas where water has cut a complete hole through areas of rock and left only what we would call an arch. You know, water is the most powerful of the forces on earth, and if you combine the water with wind, there is a power you cannot deal with. In fact, in our area, close to where I live, there was an island. This island was called Sand Island. Beautiful island. I've walked around this island. There was a number of years ago where a hurricane came through our area, the very eye of this hurricane just hit us. You know, and after this was over with, we looked, and the island was gone. You said, serious? Yeah, it completely removed the island. It wore away. Now, that's what happens in our lives, you know. You can see it in our faces. The older we get, we can see little by little we're being worn away. Yeah, by death. We think about death working in our members, and I look to expect that. But I'm glad. No fear. The waves of death compass me. Until tomorrow, Fisherman, saying goodbye.